Kenny said she wanted to take two.
I like that. It's perfect in order to take
My wife loves my work, but hates my time because I'm so OCD about everything. If you're gonna do it, you do it right, you do it once, you're done, you don't have to come back.
The one thing I hate fixing is my own work.
I hate fixing my work worse than anybody else.
How you doing?
Getting the one addition in our house, I'm like, wow, I put this in so long ago, I'm repairing my work. This did so long, that's.
At different
weird.
times.
My old
I got
boss
three
used to hate to
after.
go back to do an alteration or a repair on areas that we had put together previously, especially if I put it together, because you could drive.
Oh,
a
yeah,
truck over it.
she's the new business.
It's funny because we just had to swap the
Yeah,
toilet upstairs in our addition, and like, God, it was
Westlake.
and I sealed it to the floor, it wasn't going anywhere, and it was just like, oh my God, this it was terrible because it's taking.
Get the jackhammer.
I'd like to call the North Ridgeville Board of Zoning and Building Appeals meeting to order. Will everyone please rise for pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call roll?
Kane.
Here.
Smolik.
Here.
Masterson. Here. Thibodeau.
Here.
Winkle.
Here,
Kimball.
Here.
Members of the administration. Chief building official Bergman.
Here. Are there any corrections to the minutes dated Thursday, October 28th, 2021?
Nope.
Hearing none, the minutes will stand. Are there any reports to come from the board this evening from planning commission?
Mr. Chairman, there are no reports at this time.
Are there any other reports or correspondence?
Flood and drainage, we've rescheduled our meeting till January.
Thank you.
Mhm.
If there's no other reports, this time we'll move on to the public hearings. Will the clerk please read the first application?
Applicant Marson Rappas, 9213 Winfield Lane, North Ridgeville, Ohio, 44039. Owner same. Requesting a variance to NRCO 1294.03 E1, a 2-foot variance from the rear property line for an outbuilding. Location 2913 Winfield Lane in an R1 district. Permanent parcel number 07-00-036-000-487. Case number PPZ 2021-0096. Chief building officials comments. 1294.03 E1 residential outbuilding shall be 5 foot from the rear property line. Applicant requesting 3 foot from rear property line, requiring 2-foot variance. BZA approval required.
Sir, representative here this evening?
Yes.
I'm assuming you're in. Sir, if you could step to the podium, state your name and address, and I'll swear you in for the record.
So my name is Martin Barpach, and the address is 9213 Winfield Lane, and that's North Ridgeville.
Thank you. Do you swear affirm the statements you're about to make in front of this Board of Zoning and Building Appeals for the City of North Ridgeville are true as you shall answer unto God or under the penalties of the law of perjury?
They are true.
Thank you.
Correct.
Could you please tell us a little bit about your application?
Okay, so we completed some concrete work around the house, including a driveway extension, patio in the back, and we decided it's going to be a good idea to put a slab of concrete to go underneath the shed. When we did that, I didn't realize there was a 5 feet variance, 5 feet that we had to be from the back of our property. So it ended up being 3 feet away from the back of the property. And I have some umbrella to give you these pictures.
Please.
I didn't have too many because I don't want to show
It's okay, we'll
the
share.
trees. But this picture isn't going to. Yeah. I'm going to give you a better one. Here you go. So what we did was we poured the concrete slab. Then because we're overachievers, we did a retaining wall around it, filled it with rocks, then applied for the permit. And when we received the permit back from the building department, they wrote a comment where it says that we have to be 5 feet from the back of the property, and I didn't realize that's the case. In order to make the 5 feet now, we would have to essentially destroy the construction as is, because the slab is created, so there's 2 feet in front of it. Then we go up an inch, which you can, not this picture, but this picture shows that it's, there's 2 feet, then we go up an inch, and then there's 10 by 12 where shed is gonna sit. Once I got the permit and I realized that we're not in the proper distance, I called the building department and the ladies helped me out and they said we'll have to apply for the variance. So I'm here pledging for the variance because I mean it's just going to be a lot of money and I think hassle. We do not have anyone behind us. There's a retaining pond behind us, trees and then waterbury. So when it comes to the back of the house, I don't feel like we're going to impact anyone, and we're not close to any of the neighbors. We're still within the proper distance from the neighbors. And as far as I'm concerned, they did not care about the space.
Sure. Thank you. And I appreciate the additional photo that you brought.
Sure.
My first thought, looking at the topo, also the pictures you provided, and what we already have, is the whole purpose behind the ordinance that we have in place to have the 5 foot from the structure to the property line gives room for being able to work on whatever structure is there. So you may maintain it. And then also if someone was to build something directly behind you, there's at least 10 feet in between the structures.
Correct.
I believe with 3 feet, you could still adequately maintain your shed. And considering that you have a retention pond directly behind you, there's no possibility of a structure being built.
Correct.
I think it's gonna work out just fine, the way you have it planned.
Okay.
Are there any questions or comments from any board members?
I completely agree with
Yeah, I
everything you said. I mean, had it being a buddy with somebody else, but this is the reason why we're here, is to use common sense applications to a very unique situation.
I can definitely use some common sense from you. I agree. There is space behind it. So if let's say a fire or someone has to get there, there's still space that is on the other side of the fence either way. So then even if I was within the code, it would still be inside of our property. And there's enough room for me to, maintain the garage because that's what we did. And trust me, I would not do it if I knew right away I could be within 5 feet, it would be almost up. So I can definitely use some help over here.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have
Yes, sir.
questions, comments. Actually, the 5 foot drainage also plays a part of the ordinance in that too. Making sure you have a swale, but for this particular lot, everything is probably sheet flowing towards the retention basin. So that 5 feet is not really important. I guess, as far as, did you pour the concrete yourself or did you hire a company?
So we had, I had a friend who does concrete that helped me with it.
Okay, so you said you did the driveway as well?
Yes.
Did you have a pre-pour inspection done on that drive?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you tell the inspector that there was a pad in the back as well?
As far as I'm concerned, we didn't need to have the pad inspected and no, so the only thing they looked at was the driveway. We also did the sidewalk leading to the back. Then we have a deck and then we have the patio. And the only thing we needed to have a permit for was the driveway. So that was the only place that was inspected. Per building department.
Okay. So when the inspector was out looking at the driveway, there was no way he could see this pad for work?
No, he wouldn't see it. It's in the back of the property here. Unless I would tell him that it's there, there would be really no reason for him to go there or even know. So no, it was, and honestly, I would have never even considered to show it to him because I didn't know we have to be 5 feet away.
Right. So, and then you originally poured it just for timing because you were pouring your driveway and stuff like that.
Correct.
So that way you wouldn't have a separate pour for this.
Correct. And then I found out we need permit for the shed, which I knew we need permit for the shed, but I didn't get it ahead of time because I didn't need it. We wanted to make sure the concrete slab was in first. And then I was gonna take care of the shed, plus, the finances.
Now, with this, did you submit this, is there an HOA in your neighborhood?
Mhm.
Did you submit, did you advise the HOA that there's not enough clearance?
No, they told me to, for the shed, they told me to just follow the city's ordinances. Because they only, the Winfield HOA was only worried about the look of it. So I submitted, the pictures. It's in there somewhere if you wanna see it, but I submitted the pictures, the color of the siding and all that stuff, to the HOA. They told me everything else is done by the city.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Good question.
Are there any other questions or comments? Anything for administration? If not, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
Will the clerk please take roll?
Kane,
Yes.
Smolik,
Yes.
Masterson,
Yes.
Thibodeau,
Yes.
Winkle, Kimball, I'm sorry, Kimball.
Great.
Motion
We have a copy up here for you, sir.
Oh, awesome.
Just for clarification, Mr. Pearson, if somebody just pours a concrete slab, they don't need an inspection if they're pouring a patio, right?
Correct. Only thing we ask for is the permit for if they do steps.
Okay.
Because that's a code item, but that back there is not covered under the code, nor is it covered under the zoning code. You can just set patio right up to your property line.
So, just for clarification, so driveway is the only thing that requires a home board inspection?
Building department driveway, decks, sheds, the steps on the patio would, because they're regulated under the residential code of Ohio. So when they say I'm doing a concrete patio, are you doing steps? No, then you don't do it. Zoning code doesn't regulate it, nor does the building code. Now, once in a while, they'll do a pad back there with the intent of building something out in the future, and they'll put a footer under it. Then we'll go out and do an inspection, and if they request it, we'll issue them a permit. That way we have a record of an inspection on the footer that they want to build a structure on in the future.
But like in-ground pools with concrete decks, you'd have to have your bond inspection.
Yes, but that's part of the pool.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and wrap the meeting. Let me guys finish. Is there any other business coming from the board this evening? If not, at this time, the chair makes a motion to adjourn. All those signify by aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
And that pool deck by ordinance is supposed to be 5 foot off the property.
Too much.
You knew I was trying to make it last.
Yeah, I know in Westlake, any flag.
Short,
we-
short, short, short.
That's why I was
We had a
asking all
back
those
over.
questions.
You said